Hi everyone, I'm Rui, and this is sort of a continuation of the previous video tackling element connection settings. But on this one, we're going to go over advanced element settings. So let's get into it. On the element wizard we've shown before, there's a section called advanced element settings. Slow poll, what is it? When an element is not responding, the DMA can put it in slow poll mode. In this mode, the DMA will try to communicate with the device less often and using a ping command. Basically, the DMA will back off after a while if the element is not responding to the retries. This is to avoid chain devices from locking up in face of insistent retries. When you check this box, you can tell when the element should go into slow poll mode. In this case, it will enable slow poll if the element doesn't respond after 30 seconds, or if the element times out 5 times. SNMP Agent. When you enable this, it will make the metrics of this data source available via a virtual SNMP agent, even though the device isn't necessarily using SNMP and could be talking to DataMiner over serial or HTTP instead. This way, other elements or integrations can do SNMP gets and sets on device metrics by sending to the SNMP agent instead, and DataMiner will translate those commands to the protocol the device is actually using. So, after enabling, you just have to configure the IP address, subnet mask, community strings, just like dealing with the real SNMP agent. When you enable this checkbox, you will hide this element. It won't even show up in the surveyor. This is for elements that aren't individually of great interest because their data is actually displayed by other elements or by other means. For example, on this demo system, our Copenhagen setup aggregates a lot of experience data, and not all collectors or OLTs behind it are visible, as we can see. When you check read-only means nobody, not even administrators, can perform control actions on the element. No setting metrics, no changing parameters, no nothing. Example, a third party could be managing the product instead, and you only want it on DataMiner for visibility and data consumption purposes, but not for control purposes. Element state. By default, the element will start in active mode, but using this selection box, you can choose to start the element in paused or stopped mode. When setting the connection, you can also find a variety of timeout settings. Timeout of a single command means the amount of time the DMA will wait for a reply after sending a request before resending the request again when no reply was received. Some protocols can suggest appropriate timeout values for certain requests and commands. This down here is the number of retries the DMA can resend the same command when a device isn't replying. After that amount of retries, the DMA will simply continue with the next following request. Here's a heads up, these settings have a large impact on the communication between the DMA and the device, so you have to consider them carefully. As I mentioned, these previous timeout settings refer to commands, requests, replies. It should not be confused with elements timeout state. That is a different thing. So again, timeout of a single command is the amount of time the DMA will wait for a reply before resending the same command. The timeout state is a state an element goes into when the DMA cannot communicate with the device at all. When this checkbox is enabled, means the element can go into timeout state when the device is considered unreachable. Below, if the device fails to respond to all DMA requests for a longer time than this setting, the element will get a timeout state and an alarm will be generated. And that wraps up most remaining element settings. If you're an admin, I hope all these settings became clear. All these are of course covered in depth in our DataMiner administration course available in our Open Dojo community, so do not forget to check that out. That's all I got for now. I hope you enjoyed the video and I will see you on the next one.